More signs the highly contagious Omicron variant is in retreat. Nationwide, the new daily case average down by 81% since a month ago, and virus-related deaths finally projected to drop in the weeks to come. But sadly, tens of thousands of Americans are still expected to lose their lives. Still, many virus-weary Americans are looking ahead to the rollback of mandates and protocols. California's indoor mask mandate ending today, with an exception for schools. Nationally, the CDC also looking to update its mask guidance, expected as early as next week.
While uncertainty remains over whether Russia will spark a bloody war in Ukraine, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin reaffirming U.S. military support for America's NATO allies after arriving in Brussels. The group of NATO defense ministers saying they're gravely concerned by Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's border. Sources tell ABC News if the Kremlin orders an attack on Ukraine, it would likely begin with electronic warfare and aerial bombardment on Ukraine's critical infrastructure, and then a brutal attack on the capital of Kyiv that Russia hopes would end within 24 to 72 hours. Nations in the alliance are deploying additional ground, air, and maritime military assets to protect Eastern European NATO members, concerned about the threat from the 150,000 Russian troops surrounding Ukraine. Overnight video showing U.S. soldiers deploying to Poland. Ukrainian President Zelensky also seen addressing his troops, saying unlike 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea, his nation is ready to defend itself.
Go home and enjoy myself. I'm go home.
Police say a drunk passenger was stopped from boarding her plane heading to New York from Orlando.
Oh man, that thing kind of goes fast.
The newly released body camera video shows Chelsea Alston leading officers on a wild chase through the airport, riding her motorized suitcase. An officer followed her on his bike, catching up and arresting her, but not before she spat on him. She's accused of hitting the officer and causing more than $1,000 in damage to his patrol car. Dashcam video shows a Brightline train slamming into a car as it was maneuvering around the lower gates on Wednesday morning, cutting it in half. As the train approached the intersection, the driver deliberately went around the gates in another car that had stopped to let the train go by. The driver was injured and taken to a hospital. This is the third collision in 4 days involving the private rail line.
She was one of the world's most photographed faces, part of fashion's original supermodels, appearing everywhere in the 90s. But the Linda Evangelista of today says she's a far cry from her former self.
Do you see the angle of my arms? Versace want to dress me with that sticking out of my body.
Evangelista telling people about the cosmetic procedure she says left her deformed. Beginning in 2015, Evangelista underwent several rounds of cool sculpting. The procedures, she says, led her to develop a condition called PAH, short for paradoxical adipose hyperplasia. Evangelista since filing a $50 million lawsuit against the makers of cool sculpting and their parent company, adding she suffered disfigurement, pain, and severe emotional distress, in addition to economic losses as it rendered her unemployable. In an email statement, a representative saying Allergan Aesthetics does not comment on ongoing litigation. Cool sculpting has been well studied with more than 100 scientific publications and more than 11 million treatments performed worldwide.
Uber will now let you see what drivers rate you. Thanks to a new feature in the popular ride-sharing app, passengers can see exactly what their drivers think of them through a change in settings. Although drivers have been able to rate riders for years, it's the first time riders can actually see it. It's a move that allows a glimpse into the rating system that determines whether or not you'll be kicked off the app. Uber says it will only display users' last 500 journeys. If you don't like what you see, the company will offer tips to improve your riding etiquette.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.